Hi, I'm John. I'm from New York, and I'm 57.
My name is Zoe. I'm from New York, and I'm 22.
And how do you guys know each other?
I'm her dad.
We've known each other a long time.
22 years. I've known you 22 years.
My senior year of high school, I went to the doctor for a checkup, and my pediatrician noticed a swollen gland on my neck and didn't originally consider thyroid cancer, but after a while it didn't go away. I got a biopsy and turned out as thyroid cancer. So then I got my thyroid removed and I had a radioactive iodine treatment to remove any remaining thyroid cancer cells. And yeah.
You're making it sound very quick, and it wasn't quite that quick.
Yeah, it's hard to remember everything.
Right. Well, I mean, the swollen gland was saying that we watched for a little while, and when it wasn't going away, the doctor said we need you to see a pediatric oncologist. So I think the first thing was the scary moment of like, oh, there's something, we don't know what it was. Let's see if, then when you hear pediatric oncologist with one of your children, you panic, of course. And it was that doctor that did the biopsy. And then when it came back that it was thyroid cancer, that was when we really, had to deal with, what is it and how do we find the right doctor to take care of it. We had a connection to this doctor, so we were able to get in, very quickly to see him. I would say that my journey also, as with Zoe, starts with Zoe's journey, right? So that's really when we became aware of thyroid cancer and started to understand what it was, how it affects people, how to treat it, what to do about it. Once Zoe had thyroid cancer, we talked a lot to the doctors about how, why she had thyroid cancer. We did decide that we should all get tested just in case. When I went to the doctor for a test, they definitely, they saw a nodule on my thyroid that was small, and the doctor said we should just, keep watching it. And of course, I immediately had the luxury of knowing Zoe's doctors and Zoe's surgeons, so it was very easy to go to them and say, here's what's happening, what do you think? So they said, let's just watch it for a little while. And then when we came back a year later to watch it, to do another test, the nodule had grown. And, it became apparent that it was definitely, something that should be biopsied. So I immediately had a biopsy, and it came back as thyroid cancer. So then it was very easy for me to make the decision what to do about it and to have surgery to remove it, mostly because I had been through this with Zoe. So my journey was very, I would say, less panicked, than the journey with Zoe. Probably less emotional about myself, more emotional about the fact that my child had gone through this and that was new and scary, and thinking about how she had reacted the first time she heard the news, or the first time we heard the news that she had thyroid cancer. So I think that in that way it was easier for me to go through what I had to go through to take care of it.
Well, a big thing for me was finding the right doctor post-thyroidectomy and post-radioactive iodine treatment, the right endocrinologist who I really felt comfortable with to work through any symptoms as a result of any medicine I was taking and things like that. So I guess that's maybe has been the hardest part, to really find someone that I feel completely comfortable with, and that I'm able to get a place where any medication symptoms aren't presenting themselves on a daily basis.
I also think that what's important is we're the type of people that would need doctors that are comforting, okay? And that's just a fact. That's who we are, right? There are some doctors that we met with, even some of the endocrinologists, whatever, that were very, matter of fact and didn't understand, a parent calling about the child and how worried they were about child, because to them, it is no big deal. And I get that, right? So I think the other thing is we had to find a doctor doctors that met our needs of answering our questions, having empathy, understanding our emotions, and not thinking that we were crazy, because they understood where we were coming from. And there definitely were the spectrum of doctors that we saw. And we gravitate towards a certain kind of doctor, and we know that.
I think another thing is that it is like a big undertaking to find a new doctor if you don't like the one that you're currently going to, and it's a little overwhelming to have more than one first appointment with a doctor and explain everything that happened and get tests done again and everything like that. But I think the joy or the comfort in having a doctor that you really connect with is way more important than the discomfort of going to a new doctor.
That's true, I would say that. And I would also say it's not about the doctor not being honest with you. Like, I'm not saying that I didn't want a doctor to tell us the truth, and even if it scared us, but there's a difference of a doctor that can tell you the truth and be honest, but also, be comforting about it. So it's not like we just wanted to find a doctor that said, everything's gonna be fine, don't worry about it, We weren't looking for that. We were looking for honesty, but honesty delivered with a type of care that worked for us. The one thing is, like, when she was first diagnosed, they were thinking it was something much worse, right? And so yes, there was definitely a bit of relief. But I think the thing that doesn't go away is the word cancer. I know that, we've had this discussion, like when, even myself, when I fill out forms or Zoe fills out forms at the doctor's office and it's medical history, have you ever had cancer? And you say yes. That's a change. That's a change in mindset. That's a change in, like, okay, well, what does that mean going forward? Does anything affect you differently because of it? So, and the fact that it's an ongoing concern. So it's, that's not gonna go away.
I remember going to one of the doctors I went to right when I found out about thyroid cancer. I think, like, at the time, right away, I really took thyroid cancer being called the good cancer to heart. And it was, I think, in the short term, very comforting, but then maybe in the long term, I kind of underplayed what I was going through, and realized that more so when my dad was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. I think maybe seeing someone else go through it made me understand that, there is the immediate relief of knowing that the treatment is doable, but then also acknowledging that it is a hard thing to go through and to take that into account too.
I wanted to share my story because as a parent that has gone through this, really not even worrying about myself going through it, but as the parent of a child that went through this, I would want anyone to hear the story and hear about our journey. If it makes anyone feel more comfortable dealing with it, gives someone one less sleepless night, that would be helpful. So I just want to do it as a way to help.
I also would add that I think it's really important to share the story because there's such an intricate emotional process that it's confusing wanting to believe that it's the good cancer, and it's confusing not wanting to close off your emotions and have it overwhelm you later on. And I think that's hard to wrap up in any tips and tricks guide or anything like that. So I think as much as possible hearing us talk about it.
Hearing other people's stories is just, helpful.
I feel like when I was going through thyroid cancer, I was definitely confused about what it was or how to go through it. I knew that it was something that a lot of people were getting more often, but I didn't know what it was actually like to go through it. So I feel like those, as much medical information as you can find online, the personal information and hearing the details that you wouldn't necessarily find from from your doctor visit,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
are helpful.